I was the most forgotten second child in my family. Before I turned 5, I was sent to live with relatives. After 5, I became a mobile medical bank for my older sister. That's when my 20-year-long hell began. I endured 2 catheterization surgeries, 1 bone marrow transplant, and 2 stem cell donations for her. It wasn't until the day I died that I truly understood how heartless humans could be. I was born solely to save my sick sister. As soon as I could form memories, someone told me I was brought into this world to save my sister, Snow, who suffered from leukemia. Her illness wasn't critically severe, but it was still a tremendous shock for our ordinary family. The hospital's blood and bone marrow bank had no suitable match for her, so they conceived me as a precaution. Before I was 5, I was sent to the countryside to live with my aunt, who had no children of her own. Those were the rare, happy moments in my short life. Later, when my aunt had her own child, her affection for me slowly faded. My mother would visit once every 6 months not to see me, but only to hand over money for my upkeep to my aunt. Each time she left, I would sit by the door, hoping for a hug. But she was always in a hurry, never speaking a word to me. She had to rush back to care for my ailing sister and newborn brother. When I was 5, I was brought back to the city. On the way home, my mother braided my hair and bought me my favorite hawthorn candy. That was the happiest day of my childhood. But then I was taken to a hospital with blindingly white walls. I was held tightly on a sterile bed, a needle piercing my vein, fresh red blood flowing out of my body. I was terrified, crying loudly, calling for my mother because of the pain. My mother frowned, her anxious gaze fixed on the bed next to mine, then she turned to me. "What's there to hurt? Is it as painful as Snow's? She's sick, don't bother me anymore." I had never seen my mother so agitated. Frightened, I bit back my tears, not daring to cry out in pain. It turned out my sister, so carefully cared for by our parents, was hospitalized with a nosebleed due to low platelets. The blood bank was insufficient, and only then did my parents think of me. For the first time in my life, I felt a deep, profound fear. My sister's hospital bed was crowded with people, everyone doting on her. She clutched a plush toy, her skin fair and rosy, truly the city girl the village elders always spoke of. I, on the other hand, wore ragged clothes. Only my mother held me close, but her mind was entirely on my sister. Today was my sister's engagement, a day to celebrate her once again overcoming her illness. My mother, with tears in her eyes, told our relatives that despite the hardships, she never regretted giving birth to Snow. That was my sister's name. I heard that it snowed on the day she was born, a phenomenon my mother loved most. My name is Ava, meaning to wish my sister good health. My mother, red-eyed, proudly declared that Snow was intelligent, brave, beautiful, and kind-hearted, the most understanding of her 3 children. If fate hadn't been so unfair to Snow, she wouldn't have had any more children. She wanted to dedicate all her love and attention to her eldest daughter. My younger brother, Kyle, stepped forward, patted Mother's shoulder and joked, "Mom, that makes me sad. Am I not the son you love?" My mother laughed loudly, the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes showing, gently hitting Kyle as she chuckled. "You're the naughtiest one. The teacher called again saying you were naughty at school. I can't handle you, your sister will deal with you later." Kyle made a face. Sister wouldn't dare hit me. Today's her engagement, she must be in a good mood. The surrounding relatives laughed along, praising my mother's good fortune. My aunt, who once raised me, asked curiously, "Why isn't Ava here? Where is she?" My mother's expression changed, her voice reproachful. "What good is she? Her studies are poor, she doesn't like any job we find for her, she scoffs at arranged marriages. She's useless and only bothers the family. Every day I'm busy as a dog and I still have to worry about her. I truly regret giving birth to her." As soon as my name was mentioned, Mother launched into a barrage of criticisms, as if I were nothing but flaws. Kyle patted her back, a few comforting words finally calming her down. My soul hovered in the hall, unable to blend into the lively atmosphere. My mother, in a vibrant red dress, heavily made up, glass of wine in hand, walked right through me, lightly passing through my body. As she walked, she said to my brother, "It's just a little blood donation, why does she have to make such a fuss? Every time she pulls this running away from home stunt." Kyle echoed, "Ava has no sympathy at all. Sister is so sick, yet she still sulks." If it were me, I'd readily donate blood and marrow to her. As soon as he finished speaking, my mother's face changed. She covered Kyle's mouth, her eyes filled with unreadable emotions. After a moment, she let go, looking at Kyle with a loving gaze I had never received. Don't talk nonsense, that harms your health. You are the pillar of our family's future. Your father and I rely on you. Your health must be good. That blinding scene of a loving mother and filial son made my eyes sting. I quietly drifted away, searching for my father, the only one in the house who truly loved me. I finally found him in the corner of the second-floor staircase. I heard his voice comforting Snow, who was crying softly. "Snow, today's your happy day. Don't cry anymore. It's unlucky." Snow's eyes were swollen red, like a wronged little animal, as she wiped her tears with the hem of her dress. "It's all my fault, Dad. My poor health always causes trouble for everyone. Even Ava often gets angry with me," he said. "You will always be the daughter I love most." "Ava doesn't understand things, don't mind her. The doctor said a good mood helps recovery." He helped my sister sit down, stroked her head, comforting her gently. He used to comfort me the same way every time I was turned into Snow's living blood-drawing machine. In front of me, he had always been a kind father. After each blood draw, he would gently stroke my forehead. "My brave little treasure, you are truly your father's beloved daughter. It must have hurt, didn't it? My brave little." That was the rare warmth I could feel in this family. It was only because of those few times he showed paternal affection that I didn't feel like a forgotten child. I couldn't bear to let go of that small affection. Snow looked in the mirror, her thick makeup unable to hide the pale, sickly look on her face. She sighed. "Ava isn't here. What if my illness relapses?" "Don't worry, Ava's blood is already stored at the hospital. All these years, your father and I have used every trick to make her go to the hospital to donate blood for you. I can still talk to her. I'll call her home." She smiled haughtily. "Dad, you're too good to Ava. I'm almost jealous." "You silly girl, how can she compare to you? If we didn't want her to willingly donate her blood, why would your mother and I have to put on this whole act?" My ears buzzed, and the blood in my veins seemed to stop flowing. So, it was all a lie. Every plea, every gentle gesture, was only to make me willingly become a living blood bank for my sister. It turned out, love could also be fabricated. My father patiently comforted Snow for a long time, then went to the hallway to call me. After a few dozen seconds, he only heard the dial tone and my voicemail. He frowned and hung up. A moment later, he called again, his tone softer, his lips forced into a strained smile. "Ava, I miss you so much. Come home quickly. I made your favorite sweet and sour pork ribs. Don't take Snow's matter to heart. You're the daughter I love most, you know? You donated a lot of blood today, didn't you?" "Did it hurt?" A few sentences drained his patience. He dropped the smile, hung up. So unreasonable, truly a wide-eyed wolf. A wide-eyed wolf? Someone ungrateful who bites the hand that feeds them. I stood right next to him, looking at the familiar father who had now become a stranger. So all these years, the affection he showed me was nothing but a lie. Did he ever truly love me? The man, nearly 50, had lost his youthful vigor, his temples streaked with gray, his figure worn down from carrying the burden of his family. He quietly returned to the room, carrying 2 beautifully wrapped gift boxes, and placed them on a colleague's table, in front of the company's director. Just a small token of my appreciation. "Thank you, Director Zhang, for attending my daughter's engagement." Those were the gift boxes I had bought for my father with my entire last week's salary, asking many friends to help me purchase premium health supplements to regulate blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. At that time, he was radiant with joy, even saying, "My daughter works hard alone, you should save some money, so you won't be afraid if anything happens." My eyes welled up then, deeply moved. In this family, so devoid of love, even a little concern was enough to make me happy for a long, long time. No matter how tired I was outside, just thinking that someone truly remembered me, cared about what I ate, gave me the motivation to live. Yet, in the blink of an eye, my heartfelt gift was given away by him to someone else. The middle-aged man, Director Zhang, with a beer belly, examined the gift boxes a few times, surprised and praised. "Old Jiang, where did you buy these? I asked so many people, but I couldn't find this kind." My father paused for a moment, seemingly surprised that the gift I gave him was so valuable. Then he smiled triumphantly. "Of course, my future son-in-law bought them to show filial respect to me. I'm giving this gift to you, please accept it." My heart was colder than mountaintop snow, tears silently fell. Someone else walked right through my body, leaving behind a tall figure. My father put his arm around that person, proudly and triumphantly introducing him to relatives and friends. "This is my future son-in-law, Daniel." Daniel, my ex-boyfriend, was getting engaged to my sister today. Daniel and I had met in college and were planning to get married, so I brought him home to meet my family. That day, my sister, Snow, who studied surgery, wore a white dress and was meticulously made up, not looking sick at all. She sat to Daniel's right, gently initiating conversation, asking questions repeatedly. Daniel patiently explained and joked, making her burst out laughing. Her eyes, burning with feminine admiration, were fixed on Daniel. That evening, Snow entered my room for the first time, a small room just big enough for a bed and a wooden table, with peeling paint on the walls. She looked around disdainfully, then spoke in a commanding tone. "I want Daniel. You break up with him." I bent over my homework, the pale yellow light casting a blurry shadow over my pen. Snow snatched my notebook. A sarcastic smile played on her lips. "You country bumpkin in this house, do you have the right to speak?" She always criticized my years in the countryside, from my clothes to my accent. Nothing about my background was spared from her attacks. Even though I now dressed better, was healthier, and more attractive than her, Snow tore up my exam paper, throwing it on the floor like trash. Her contempt turned to hatred. "By what right do you get to go to school while I'm stuck at home? I want to steal everything you cherish, my parents' love, or Daniel, whom you treasure like a precious gem." The scattered papers on the floor were my postgraduate study materials, which I had painstakingly collected. I wanted to leave this place, escape every single person in this house. Only by constantly striving could I have a chance at a better life, free from the haunting shadow of my family of origin. The long-suppressed resentment made me lose my mind. I screamed at Snow to get out. But she suddenly shrieked, "Ava, please don't be like this." My parents and Kyle heard the cry and immediately rushed over. Just then they saw Snow fall to the floor, her head hitting the hard ground with a loud thud. I stood frozen. Before I could even explain, my mother, as if driven mad, rushed forward and slapped me twice. "Ava, are you crazy? She's sick." Kyle worriedly checked Snow's injuries, gritting his teeth and cursing at me. "Has a dog eaten your conscience? How could you be so cruel?" My father, who had always been gentle, also turned cold. "This is too much. Apologize to your sister immediately." Snow hid behind Kyle, raising her eyebrows and mouthing provocatively, "You lost. No one cares about the truth. They only believe what they see. More precisely, between me and Snow, my family will always choose her, and my innocence has never mattered." After that, I did break up. Daniel was the one who initiated it. He said he had fallen in love with Snow, that he had found true love. That day was beautiful and sunny, the sunlight shining behind me, but I felt no warmth at all. His love for Snow was true love, then what was I? Daniel bowed his head, a hint of guilt in his eyes. After a while he spoke, "I'm sorry." He seemed to have made a great decision, his eyes firm and sparkling. "I am truly sincere with Snow. No girl has ever made me feel as pure, innocent, simple, and fragile as she does. She must be an angel forgotten by God and left on earth, which is why she's tormented by illness. Even God doesn't want her to leave this world for too long." Daniel was the first boy I ever loved. He had witnessed all the pain from my family of origin, yet he stabbed me in my weakest spot. I didn't want to break up, but he had already decided. Later, I learned that the first time he met Snow, they had already become WeChat friends. Daniel had been in close contact with her behind my back. On my birthday, Daniel said he was busy working overtime, but in reality, he was riding a Ferris wheel with her. On my graduation day, not a single person from my family came because Snow cut her hand while cooking for me. She had leukemia, poor blood clotting, and the whole family frantically rushed to the hospital. The driver that day was my own boyfriend, the one who, the night before, had promised to attend my graduation ceremony. On the night we broke up, I went downstairs for water, only to be blocked by Snow on the stairs. She triumphantly raised her hand, showing off the bracelet on her wrist. "I heard you liked this bracelet. I don't think it's that pretty, though. Daniel bought it for me. You're not angry, are you?" The silver bracelet, dangling on her pale, bony wrist, looked obnoxious, even eerie. I looked at the bracelet for a long time, memories bringing me back to an afternoon shopping with Daniel. I had tried on that bracelet. He praised my smooth white wrist and said the bracelet suited me perfectly. He intended to buy it as a graduation gift for me, but when he saw the price, over 5,000 yuan, I saw him hesitate. Since childhood, I had learned to observe others' expressions and not dream too far. I told him I didn't like it that much. He didn't push, smiled, and patted my head. "Next time you like something, remember to tell me." We had been in love for 2 years. I remember very clearly how relieved he looked at that moment. And now that same bracelet was on Snow's hand. My heart swelled with anger, but I managed to keep a calm expression. After many years, my tears had run dry. I knew Snow wanted to see me go crazy because my pain was her joy. Seeing no anger, she seemed disappointed. Ava, you're so pathetic. Father doesn't love you, mother doesn't love you, and your boyfriend abandoned you. You're a total failure. The engagement party began. Daniel gently led Snow, splendid in her gown, down the stairs, as if holding the most precious treasure on earth. That dress was one I had designed specifically for my wedding with Daniel. It was a mermaid-style dress, form-fitting and floor-length, with a large bow at the back to accentuate the curves. Now it was clipped in 2 places with dress-colored clips, obscuring the original waistline. Snow was too thin, so thin she looked like a walking skeleton. In that moment, only one question was in my mind. Didn't Daniel find her repulsive when he embraced her? He bent down and kissed Snow's forehead, his eyes filled with tenderness. My love, I finally waited for this day. Snow blushed, her eyes glistening with tears. It's just a pity Ava couldn't attend our engagement. She must still be angry with me. Daniel held her hand tightly like a devout believer. He gently wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes, never mentioning that today was supposed to be a momentous day for him and me. Whether Ava comes or not, you are the only one I want to marry forever. Snow finally heard the words she had longed for, her face brightening, yet she still tried to maintain a sorrowful expression. But I still want his blessing. Ava has blocked my number, why don't you try calling him? I stood before them, scoffing. I never blocked her number. My mother repeatedly warned me to always stay in contact because Snow's health was very special, so we could contact her in time if anything happened. Even though I hated her so much I didn't want to see her again, I didn't dare to cut off contact completely, all because of the responsibility my family forced upon me. Daniel hesitated for a moment, then made the call to please his fiancée. As expected, the call went unanswered. Even he won't answer my call. He must truly hate me to the bone. Snow's sad face made people pity her. In front of our parents, she was always that pitiful child, but only I knew her true, wicked, dark face. The first time I realized Snow disliked me was after her marrow test. Our parents carefully brought her home, her room sterilized, new bedding, afraid that even a single microbe would harm their darling daughter. Mother cooked nourishing soup for her, leaving the leftovers for me. Snow threw the bowl of soup I was holding, her eyes full of hatred. What I don't want, you shouldn't even dare touch. At that time, I was not yet 10 years old, and I didn't understand why my sister hated me so much. I thought she was just lashing out because of her illness, but as I grew up, I understood that no hatred in this world is baseless. The engagement ceremony was grand and smooth. Gifts from relatives piled up in Snow's room. The family of 5 my parents, Kyle, Snow, and Daniel sat in the small garden in front of the house, enjoying afternoon tea, happy and harmonious. Snow sat on a swing, Daniel gently pushing her from behind. The sunset cast a golden glow upon them. My mother called me again. After a long ring, she angrily blocked my number. Ungrateful wretch, if you're so good, die out there and never come back. Snow walked over to Mother, resting her head against her back, her voice gentle. Mom, don't be angry anymore. Ava is just angry with me. She didn't intentionally not answer the phone. I understand. She definitely doesn't want me to survive. Before she finished, my mother grew even angrier. If she dares to think that, she's not worthy of being my daughter. Kyle brought a cup of tea, a sneer on his face. Why do you care, Mom? I heard she's living well outside. What's there to miss us for? Who knows how she earns her money? The last sentence was whispered, but full of vague, ambiguous implications. Everyone heard it clearly. Before my parents could react, Snow loudly scolded Kyle. Kyle, how can you say Ava earns money that way? I won't allow you to insult her like that. She blushed as if defending her sister with the utmost righteousness. I stood next to them, watching her stage drama, and felt nothing but weariness. My mother then told Kyle to go to my workplace to see how I earned money. They began suspecting me without proof, without reason. How bitter, how ironic. From childhood to adulthood, if Snow said it, my mother would believe it unconditionally, without verifying right or wrong. I was always the one who got beaten and scolded. When I was 10, Mother roughly dragged me from the exam room. Teachers and classmates were accustomed to my frequent absences, always assuming I was often sick and needed to go to the hospital. In the car, Mother's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. I dared not breathe loudly. I had grown accustomed to this situation over 5 years. Whenever Mother got angry, there was usually only one reason. Snow was in the hospital again. I tried to reassure her. Mom, don't worry, sister will be fine. I don't know which sentence enraged her. She found an outlet for her anger and screamed, "You're lucky you get to go to school and even have PE. Have you ever thought about Snow? What's the meaning of wearing your PE clothes, showing off to your sister? Do you want to provoke her because she can't exercise? Why did I give birth to someone as heartless as you? From today, you're staying home, not going anywhere. However your sister lives, you will live the same way." But I'm not sick. Slap. A resounding slap landed on my cheek. It was the first time Mother had ever hit me. My cheek visibly swelled. Frightened and wronged, I burst into tears. That shirt had been snatched from my hands by Snow, then cut to shreds with scissors. She was selfish and cold-blooded. My mother scolded me even as the taxi driver turned to look. In just 5 short years, I had to undergo 2 catheterization surgeries, 1 bone marrow transplant, and 2 stem cell donations for my sister. Besides the physical pain, I also endured side effects like bleeding, infection, and bruising. Yet she called me selfish. Because I wrote her assignments, I wasn't allowed to do strenuous exercise. During PE class, I could only sit in the corner, watching my friends run and play. Didn't my mother know? No, she knew everything. But her heart was completely occupied by Snow. My issues meant nothing compared to my sister's. At the hospital, everything was already prepared. All that was left was to extract my bone marrow to save Snow's life. No one asked how I felt. No one asked if I agreed. "Doctor, it's okay to take a lot. Please, you must save my daughter." "Sorry, marrow extraction has limits. We can't take as much as you want." "Isn't that girl your biological child?" the doctor asked. My mother acted as if she didn't hear. In her mind, there was only her eldest daughter lying in the treatment room. Tears wet her cheeks, her hands trembled ceaselessly. She choked out, "I gave birth to her only to save my daughter." Every time I recall lying on that operating table, I still shiver. The needle twisted deep into the bone. That forced, penetrating sensation, the pain like bones shattering, still crept into my dreams every night like a nightmare. My bone marrow was sucked out, as if my entire spirit was swept away by a whirlpool, leaving only a dark sky where day and night were indistinguishable. The company was informed by Kyle that I had requested a week off for a relaxing vacation, but I had never applied for leave. My last memory was my mother dragging me to an unregulated private clinic for a blood draw. They often made me prepare reserve blood, just in case Snow had a sudden emergency. Regular hospitals limit the number of blood draws allowed per month, but private clinics do not. When Kyle announced my leave at the dinner table, my mother was so angry she smashed the dishes. Ungrateful wretch, doesn't she know our family's circumstances, always thinking only of herself? Snow picked up the shards, feigning sadness. Ava is young and healthy. It's normal for her to want to go out and explore, unlike me, who can only stay at home. She feigned resignation, making the whole family pity her once again. The scolding words from my loved ones hurt more than the marrow extraction needle. After dinner, my parents pulled Kyle into their room. "You'll graduate next year, and your father and I plan to buy you an apartment in the city, but we don't have enough money, only for the down payment. For the loan, your father and I will cover part of it with our pension, and Ava will handle the rest." Kyle's face changed from joyous to disgusted. "I don't need her money, I can pay for it myself." Mother gently patted his back. "You don't know how hard it is to earn money these days. Save your money. Ava is your sister, helping you with the loan is her duty. Was raising her all these years for nothing?" Kyle was persuaded and nodded. "Of course. Fine, if I don't use it, she'll just squander it all anyway." I closed my eyes, my heart aching as if pricked 1,000 times. My family, the people closest to me, were calculating on my back. My value was viewed with extreme malice. I thought that conversation was the coldest thing I'd ever heard. After Kyle left, my mother opened the safe and took out an old hospital test slip, its edges slightly yellowed. I froze. I had seen that paper before. In my room's drawer, there was an identical copy of blood type compatibility test. The person tested was Kyle. When we were born, my parents had us both comprehensively tested to determine our suitability as marrow donors for Snow. I clearly remember my parents saying that year that Kyle wasn't a blood type match, but now at the bottom of the test slip, the word match was printed in clear red like a dagger to my eyes. Sobs caught in my throat, tears streamed down like a broken dam. At that moment, I just wanted to run away from this place. This wasn't a home, but a bottomless abyss. But I couldn't escape. My soul was imprisoned here as if in a dungeon. I furiously rattled the door, even the chandelier shook. A week after I lost contact, Daisy, a close colleague, came looking for me at home. My mother received her, still busy cooking in the kitchen, preparing the steamed fish Snow liked and the smoked meat Kyle preferred. Daisy said, "Ava hasn't returned to work for a week. I'm worried, so I came to check on her." My mother's face showed no change. Her hands kept cooking as she muttered, "Does she still consider this home? She's eating and living well outside." "Little girl, go home. Don't worry about her. She's perfectly fine." Kyle, who had just woken up, frowned and scrutinized Daisy when he heard she was looking for me. "You're Ava's colleague. She works at your company. Don't you know where she is?" Daisy hadn't known me long, but we got along very well. I had told him about my family, and perhaps he hadn't expected them to be so indifferent. Before leaving, Daisy turned back and said, "Auntie, Ava is living a very hard life out there. When you have time, you should care about her a little. After all, she's your biological daughter. Don't be so biased." My mother froze, watching his retreating back, her eyes briefly startled, but quickly turning furious. She slammed her knife hard onto the cutting board. "That bitch, disgracing our family's name outside. Just wait until you come back. I'll deal with you." A month after I lost contact, my parents finally went to the police station to report me missing. After returning home, everyone sat on the sofa, each with a different expression. Snow, after her marrow transplant, suffered complications and had a high fever for 2 days. She was in the hospital, awaiting a blood transfusion. The reserve blood at the private clinic had been bought by someone else at a high price, and the clinic owner had fled. My mother called the doctor who used to draw my blood repeatedly, but no one answered. He had disappeared. Kyle angrily texted me, "It's just marrow donation. It's been so many years, aren't you used to it? She's your biological sister. Do you have no conscience? Ava, if you don't come back, I'll cut ties with you." My father smoked one cigarette after another, not saying a word. I sat right in front of them, watching them distraught, going crazy with anxiety, yet feeling a strange sense of relief and exhilaration inside. Daniel's phone rang. Snow's condition had worsened again. If there was no matching blood, she could be in danger. After the call, my mother collapsed to the ground, crying heartbrokenly. My father also wiped away tears ceaselessly. Kyle angrily beat his chest. "Why can't I donate blood to my sister? Snow and I are both your children." A glimmer of hope flickered in my parents' eyes, but then they hesitated. Finally, they vaguely led Kyle to the hospital, seating him in the very familiar chair I used to sit in. As the needle was about to pierce his vein, Kyle suddenly pulled his hand back. "Why is the needle so big?" His voice trembled, his lips pale. He fearfully pleaded with his parents. Mother hugged him, comforting him, while father sternly scolded. "A big boy like you, so timid? Ava has had her blood drawn so many times, and I never saw her cry once." Those words were like a thorn in everyone's heart, not causing physical injury, but exposing a secret that everyone had deliberately ignored for so long. 2 bags of blood were taken into Snow's hospital room. Kyle sat on the hospital corridor floor, his face pale and blank, staring at a water hyacinth plant in front of him. He reopened our chat, scrolling up and up. "My last message to him was 2 months ago. I donated blood to Snow. I gave my boyfriend to her. Even Mom and Dad's love belongs to her. What more do you want?" Kyle had only typed 5 cold words. "That's what you should do." The sick person is paramount. Fighting with the sick is selfish. It's heartless. I stood next to him, silently watching. Snow's body had been decaying for a long time. Over the years, she had only clung to life because of me. Finally, it was his turn to bear the burden. I eagerly waited to see who my parents would choose. In the hospital room, Snow was in a deep sleep. Daniel sat beside her, rubbing his hands nervously, afraid. Was he afraid of becoming a widower or afraid of the enormous medical costs? I knew Daniel's family couldn't afford it. My parents entered the room, carrying the new conclusion from the doctor. Platelets were rapidly declining, cancer cells were spreading, another marrow transplant was needed. The optimistic prognosis was to extend her life by a few years, at a minimum cost of 500,000 yuan. Hearing that number, Daniel froze, his hands clenched, his voice trembling. "Ava already donated once. Weren't we told she'd live for 20 or 30 years? My parents didn't answer, their eyes avoiding his. They had lied. To reassure Snow about getting married, to keep Daniel from worrying, they had lied. My father trembled. "If well cared for, living 20 years is no problem. There are examples online. We don't know why this flare-up is so fast." My mother grasped Snow's hand, her voice annoyed. You people just talk. Why don't you hurry and find Ava to save her? I sat on the sofa, coldly watching it all. Then Kyle entered. The police found Ava. The tense atmosphere seemed to lift slightly. My mother grasped at that last straw, whispering, Quickly bring her here, tell the doctor to prepare for surgery. Kyle bowed his head, clutching his phone tightly, his entire body trembling, almost collapsing. The police said Ava is dead. The entire hospital room fell silent. All eyes turned to Kyle, shocked, panicked, unable to believe it. The sunset pierced through the curtains, falling upon Snow, who lay in a coma. My mother turned, her eyes dark as ashes. In that moment, she was thinking of the daughter who had just died and the two daughters who needed saving. Kyle drove our parents to the police station. I sat in the passenger seat. My mother spoke for the first time since hearing the news. Can her corpse still be used for marrow? My father angrily roared. She's your daughter, after all. Mother was like a lost soul, her eyes vacant, like a lifeless puppet. Even dead as long as she's useful. Slap, a resounding slap from my father. She didn't react, only startled Kyle, who was driving. I sat there, hazy, not knowing how I had died. The police officer on duty was a woman. When she saw my family, she was very surprised. In this series of murders, all the victims' families had cried uncontrollably, exhausted when they came to claim belongings. Only my family reported me missing a month later. The case had been solved half a month ago, but since the victim's identity couldn't be confirmed, the belongings were still held by the police. When the female officer showed the blood-stained shirt for confirmation, I remembered that night. A cold needle was pulled out of my body. I staggered, clinging to the clinic wall. Overtime all night, many sleepless days, malnourished, excessively blood-drawn, I fainted on the floor. Cold white light shone directly into my eyes. My vision blurred, my ears rang, nausea surged. A female nurse helped me to a resting room filled with the smell of disinfectant. Then, a tall, heavy-set man walked in with heavy steps. He looked at me. So young, have you checked her vitals? A cold female voice replied. Yes, normal health, but heart, liver, lungs, kidneys, corneas are fine. One kidney is missing. The record states it was donated to her sister with blood cancer. Then anesthetic was injected into me. I saw the man raise a familiar surgical knife towards my heart. I lost consciousness. Before closing my eyes, only memories appeared in my mind. The years living in the countryside, the day mother braided my hair, father stroking my head, telling me I was brave. My whole life, only those few memorable memories. The forensic conclusion: the victim was injected with a very high dose of anesthetic and likely felt little pain before death. The perpetrator, clinic owner Kyo Nan, exploited his hospital license to perform illegal organ harvesting. Dozens of victims had died, their bodies hidden in the B2 basement cold storage. When found, all internal organs had been removed. Due to my unidentified identity, my body had been cremated. The police handed over the urn of ashes to my family. Urgent report, I am dead. I died in an illegal clinic that my parents found. When I died on the operating table, my family was gleefully celebrating my sister's engagement. When my organs were sold by the villain, my family was happily gathered together. When I lay in the cold basement, they were making wild guesses about my wordless disappearance. The pain of being cut open washed over me like a tide. Every joint, every cell ached to the core. The wind from the corridor blew through my dissolving body. My shattered soul was about to break apart. I struggled to lift my head, wanting to see a trace of remorse and regret in my family's eyes. Were they sad I died? Even a little. My mother was holding the urn of ashes, her index finger gently tapping the lid, her fingertips white. This one is too ugly. Get another one. Ava doesn't like pure black. Her words were indifferent, as if discussing curtain colors. My ashes were placed in the bedroom, but because Snow needed treatment space, they didn't have time to deal with it, only covering it with a piece of cloth. The next day, Snow woke up. My parents didn't tell her I was dead, fearing it would affect her condition. Snow's eyes glistened with tears as she rested her head against the bed, gritting her teeth. Still haven't found Ava? My mother, pouring porridge from a thermos, suddenly paused. No news yet. Then what will I do? Without blood, without marrow, I'll die. I'm still so young. She clutched my mother's hand, sobbing. Mom, call Ava. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Mother sat on the edge of the bed, looking at Snow's pale, veiny hand. She opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. It was Snow's birthday, and it snowed again that day. My birthday was 2 days after hers. Every year after she blew out her candles, Father would pull out 3 for me to blow out too. For 25 years, I had never had a proper birthday. When I was little, after her wish, my parents and Kyle would bring out Snow's prepared gifts, new fashionable dresses, the latest toys. My gifts were her old dresses, dirty old dolls. I once complained to my parents, wanting new gifts like her. Mother waved my hand away. When your sister gets tired of it, it's yours, right? What do children need new things for? Didn't she give you everything she didn't wear anymore? Father pinched my cheek and chuckled. Next year, I'll get you a separate gift. Next year, and next year, year after year, it never changed. The second month after my death, Kyle exploded. Snow will die without marrow. Save your sister, Mom, I beg you. My mother knelt at her son's feet, pleading through tears. Just this once, I swear I won't make you suffer again. Kyle's face was cold, silent, his lips tightly pressed, revealing his pent-up resentment. Father sat on a low chair, scratching his thinning hair. He smoked incessantly, the smoke shrouding him like a fog. Sell the house. Use the down payment for Snow's treatment. Kyle jumped up as if his tail had been stepped on, leaning back against the headrest. Since childhood, how much money have you poured into her? Dad, I'm your son too. He turned to Mother for help. Mom and Dad, you promised you'd cover the down payment and the bank loan. Why are you going back on your word now? My father stubbed out his cigarette, throwing it hard on the ground. My money, why do I need to ask you how I spend it? The atmosphere was tense as a stretched string. Fine, the money is up to you, parents, but my body is mine. I have the right not to donate marrow, no one can force me. You scoundrel, I'll beat you to death. Punches rained down on Kyle. Painful screams echoed in the living room. She should have died earlier. Without Ava, she would have died long ago. Now you want to turn me into a second Ava? Her death isn't enough, you want me to die too? The whole family fell silent. After my death, the name Ava became taboo. They deliberately forgot I ever existed, trying to cover their conscience with a false sense of peace. My mother sat on the floor, repeatedly hitting it. Silence, silence. Ava was more understanding than you. She never complained about anything. For the first time, I saw my mother cry for me. Perhaps it was the only time in her life. Kyle wiped his bleeding lip. It's not that she didn't complain, but no one ever bothered to listen to her. Every day I worried about Snow's severe illness, worried about household chores. I had no energy to care about her feelings. Was it my fault? His voice gradually softened, choking as if stuck in his throat. My mother sobbed, only repeating, Ava, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. My father's back became more hunched. He leaned on the wall to stand steady. But all the damage done cannot be erased by a few faint apologies. I hovered above the ceiling, looking down. Retribution has come. No one escapes. In the hospital room, Snow's hair had fallen out after many rounds of chemotherapy, her skin pale as death. Daniel sat by the window, watching leaves fall outside. Daniel, when I'm discharged, let's go register our marriage, okay? He was expressionless, his voice cold. Did you call me here to talk about this? Snow burst into tears. You've changed. You haven't visited me for half a month. Sometimes you're working overtime, sometimes you're on business trips. You don't want me anymore, do you? Daniel's eyes were dark, no trace of his former charm. He sighed, trying to keep his voice from being too cruel. You know your condition, you're not suitable for marriage. A single sentence like a death sentence. Snow scoffed like a wilting, poisonous flower. Then who do you want to marry? Ava? Too bad she's dead. You'll never have her in your life. She laughed through tears, crazed and infatuated. Despite the pain of her wounds, she poured it all out. Daniel, you're a lustful, heartless man. Do you think you're so great? I only came to you to get revenge on Ava. If I had a healthy body, do you think I would even look at you? Just a flick of my wrist and you'd come running. I once thought Ava found someone very capable, but the woman before me was venomous and sharp-tongued, completely devoid of her usual gentleness and meekness, like a blood-soaked carnivorous flower. At that moment, Daniel truly saw Snow for who she was. He paced angrily, almost slapping her. He violently pulled the diamond ring from her finger. From today, there's nothing between us. Your life or death has nothing to do with me. Don't even think of making me spend another cent. Seeing the bracelet on her wrist, the one I was once promised, he ripped it off. This was meant for Ava. You don't deserve it. My parents walked into the room and saw the scene, Daniel forcefully pushing Snow onto the bed. The two lunged at each other, ending with injuries for all. Snow was like a demon crawling out of hell, desperately trying to grasp the last bit of warmth in the world. Mom, did Kyle agree? Her eyes were full of hope, like a fragile spark newly ignited. But when she heard my mother's words, that hope flickered out, leaving only ashes. I'm his biological sister. He can't treat me like this. You bastard. You scumbag. She screamed, unleashing all her resentment on Kyle. Not satisfied, she continued to cry and beg. Mom, I'm your biological child. The doctor said I was sick from inside your womb. You have to take responsibility. You can't just give birth to me and then abandon me. Why did you let me live a life not fit for a human? My mother's tears streamed down her face as she hugged her. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Kyle finally entered the hospital room, carrying a bouquet of sunflowers, no longer as close as before. A bridge had been built between them that could not be crossed. Sister, will you help me? Snow pleaded. Kyle pushed her hand away coldly. I don't want to miss out on PE anymore. I don't want to live forever in your shadow. Your illness is too severe. The doctor said even with a transplant, you'll only live 3 more years. Why make the living suffer? Snow's face was white and distorted. Do you want me to die? Are you afraid Mom and Dad will sell my house? The words struck Kyle's heart like a dagger. That house was prepared for me long ago by Mom and Dad. Why should I sell my house for your treatment? The air in the room was chilling. The smell of disinfectant was pungent, and the wind blew coldly. I wanted to applaud. Dog eat dog, a tragic farce that filled my heart with schadenfreude. Keep going. Let the mask of humanity be torn to shreds under the sunlight. Let me see how these false people will live. When stepping on my corpse to exist, Snow staggered out of bed. That house is clearly mine. If I hadn't been sick, Ava and Kyle wouldn't have been born. What you two have should have been mine. Ava too. She was a product created by Mom and Dad to save me, a patched-up piece of garbage. She dared to compete for love with me. Her death serves her right. Her eyes were like a wild beast's. She laughed maniacally. Kyle looked at her as if she were a stranger, then quietly left and never returned. That night, Daniel stole the house deeds and fled to his university. My parents went looking for him, but he didn't show up. Instead, he told my story to his teachers and friends, portraying himself as a poor, sympathetic guy like Ava. He gained the sympathy of the entire school. From then on, my parents never saw him again. One rainy night, Snow, who had just found a matching marrow, died of high fever and infection. Before she died, she still clutched my mother's sleeve, repeating again and again, "You owe me, all of you owe me." Snow's funeral drained my parents' last bit of strength. After just one night, their hair turned completely white. They were over $1 million in debt, and selling the house wasn't enough. They turned to sue the hospital, accusing the treating doctor of killing their daughter. The court did not accept their case. They then went to Daniel, holding a sign in front of his company, accusing him of being unfaithful and abandoning their daughter. They demanded 500,000 yuan in compensation. Daniel had no money, was sued, lost his reputation, lost his job, and eventually had to leave the city, fleeing from my family. Before he left, he went to my grave, placed a bouquet of flowers, and bowed his head. I was blind, I'm sorry, Ava. He left the bracelet he had taken from Snow. Even heaven showed no mercy. A strong gust of wind swept the bracelet away. I will never forgive you. He left without even glancing at Snow's grave, which was only a meter away. After graduating, Kyle couldn't find a job in his specialized field and couldn't pay his rent, so he had to return to his parents. They emptied their retirement funds, borrowed everywhere, and now acquaintances avoided them. The whole family placed all their hopes on him to support them, but then he became addicted to gambling, lost his job, and even the house. The entire family rented a small room, with the kitchen and bathroom connected. The 3 of them were so crammed they couldn't even turn around. Kyle, over 30, had no home, no girlfriend, and rode an old electric bike every day looking for work. Another new year approached. The 3 of them slept in one room. Suddenly, someone called my name. In a flash, fire erupted from the kitchen. Kyle's old electric bike, improperly charged, exploded, burning down the house. This time, I truly left. I turned back to look at the 3 people in the sea of flames. No regrets. Finally, everything was over. Cries calling my name echoed, but for me, they no longer mattered. I had somewhere to go. In my next life, I will have loving parents, a healthy body, a complete and happy childhood, a lover who will stay with me forever, understanding my joys and sorrows. The New Year's Eve bell rang, sparkling light piercing through my past life. I silently prayed to the deities. In the next life, please grant me peace and tranquility. The end.